Hello everyone, we're still at the Cinemas Club inside the Marché du Film of the Festival de Cannes. Earlier took place a discussion about the future of Hollywood with Charles Rifkin, Niels Svinkel, and Jackie Brenneman. So you are the president and CEO of the IFTA, the Independent Films and Television Alliance. Thank you, Jackie, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Just let's start with a global question. What's the situation of Hollywood right now?
Well, what do we mean by Hollywood?
Well,
You-
Hollywood industry.
So it's so interesting, and I'm being a little glib by saying, "What do you mean by Hollywood?" But I think that is the state of the industry. The state of the industry is historically, for most of the history of our industry, the movies that were seen were distributed, created by the major studios. And it was a handful of companies, but they made a lot of movies for all different audiences. They grew increasingly global, but they were very much Los Angeles companies. And it was very much an American industry that was exported around the world. And we've obviously seen, for multiple different reasons, but, the tax incentives in other countries have made it so that we can shoot all over the world, which also means that global stories are going to naturally start to happen. The rise of streaming and access to content from all around the world has changed tastes. But what we don't have in the United States really is a domestic market. And so I think we're all wondering now if the Hollywood studios are consolidating and shrinking their outputs, which they are, but we still have all of these screens that they need when they have a big tentpole that comes out. What do we do with them the rest of the time? What do we do with all of these human beings that are trained in this industry? How do we finance movies when the way that the model was built assumed one kind of model? What's the new model? And so I think that's the thing that's existential and stressing everyone out. But I do think that the state of Hollywood is everywhere.
So in the name of the IFTA, there is independence, and over the last years, we've seen and we have heard some fears about the independent creation. Nowadays, can an independent author still emerge in the US market?
Yes. So every problem is a structural problem, right? And the way that movies get financed requires a certain, the way movies get made is about the way the movies get financed, right? So first you have your idea, and then you have to pre-sell to certain markets. And the way to pre-sell is based on certain genres or certain talent. And so again, especially if you're talking about something that's a domestic play, if your domestic movie only can get made if you sell it to international territories, you're already kind of having a challenge. We also now have the up-and-coming filmmakers who are digitally native, the most experienced cohort of filmmakers that have ever existed, right? They have been making films since they were 12, editing films. They are deeply ingrained with commerce. They know how to work with brands. They know their audience. They are always A/B testing. But people think that the YouTube that they have is the end point, but it's the start. So if that's the start, then what are they monetizing? What is their how do you take that audience? If it's audience first instead of movie first, what is the model? And so part of what I would like to be able to do is come up with new models by bringing people together. Movie theater owners are desperate for more movies, right? And done flexibly. How can we work together? What are the movies they're looking for? If you want to go directly to a theater, or you want to go to a theater first to see that they're going to commit to you and then take that to a bank and raise marketing funds and production funds. These are all new ways of doing things. The problem is not the supply. The problem is not the audience. The problem is the model. So the current model is challenged, but that doesn't mean that independent cinema is challenged. It just means that the model needs to change.
And then to conclude, we're at the Cinemas Club. We speak also mainly about the cinema exhibition. And what are the relationships between the IFTA and the movie theaters?
So historically, there was almost no relationship. And, it's telling. when I'm on commissions, when I'm anywhere I go, the conversations end up being only about production. How do we make sure that we're funding production? How do we make sure we've got production? But no one's thinking about how do we get that to audiences? How do we monetize it? It's an economy, right? How do we make sure that this investment makes money? Who are our partners that want this? So because I spent a lot of time with the movie theater owners and I care deeply about that side of the industry, I will absolutely be bringing theaters to the table. I want my members to hear from theater owners. I want theater owners to know that they can get a steady slate of content that works on their terms. I don't know what those terms are. We need to sit down and talk about it. We need to work together. So we will have movie theater owners on panels at AFM this year. We will ask them real direct questions. We will bring them to the table because the movie is nothing if it doesn't have an audience.
Well, thank you a lot, Jackie. Those are great words to conclude. Well, you can still find all the discussions of the Cinema Club on our YouTube channel, Box Office Pro France. And if you are in Cannes, well, come to the Cinema Club in this wonderful theater, which is the Le Reims Cinema Club. Thank you a lot, Jackie.
Thank you.
And have a nice day. Goodbye.